you that people invest in. It's you that is part of what makes things happen. And what you have to make sure is that when you're out there looking for money, presenting ideas, it's you that's important that's what you're presenting. I've been very fortunate. I can show you my resume, and I can BS the best of them about who I am and what I can do. And that pedigree is very important. And because that's what you have to develop within you. What is your pedigree? What have you done that you can use in this sort of stand-up to make sure it's happened? But you are the part of that. You're the centerpiece of that, and you have to make sure. Then you have to look at the variety of where's the money going to come from. One thing I didn't put up here is friends and family. That is the most dangerous place to raise money, and I wish I'd never done it. I did it. They all lost their money. My wife is from Bogota, Colombia. I always worry about her uncle coming up here to visit me one of these days. I mean, it's just friends and family lose their money is really tough, and that's to look them in the face. I can look at the angels in the face because they're used to this. I don't like VCs, but I can deal with them also, or hedge funds if you're going to get into the public market. What I did was made a big mistake. Seemed a good, right thing to do at the time. I'm not ready to do the same thing again, by the way. I merged into a shell. So I became a public company. A dumb thing to do. So I'm just going to give you advice. Don't do that. I don't care what anybody tells you, merging into a shell. Think about this. In today's age, public companies have to tell you everything. Every quarter, they have to put out, even they have to tell you what you're working on, what your contracts are, what you're doing, who's getting paid what. For a startup, that's a killer. I mean, all my competitors had to do is read my filings every quarter and know exactly what I was doing and how to match me. So the merger is a bad idea. So why am I thinking of it again? I don't know. I have to think about that later. So let's talk about the Ponzi. So guess what? And this is back to my Amigo story about it. The company's flying along, we're doing great. We just raised the money, and I discovered that this guy was reporting to me raising $1, and he was raising $2. So I had to go through that. I file a lawsuit against him. My phone rings. Hi, this is Mr. Bonner from the FBI. Oh, really? Yes, we've been following you because we've been after you, the guy, Mr. Joseph Ford Proctor, for 3 years now. It looks like we thought you were part of him. It's like I almost fell out of my chair. So then they said, we'd like to come and interview. I said, great. Come to my office. 2 guys walk in my office, take off their coats, and they both are wearing guns. And it's like, what the hell is this? I mean, it's like, so you have to face, again, as an entrepreneur, you have to face this stuff. It's like, I mean, I didn't have any experience in dealing with this. It's like all of a sudden I'm like, wham, then what happens is all of the information that had been filed in the previous filings, because we were a public company, was all false. All the stuff I'd signed off on was all wrong. It all had been, so now I'm caught in a situation where we had to go back, redo all the filings, get everything up to straight, and also we were knocked what they call the pink sheet. So in this world of public companies, if you're on NASDAQ or the stock exchange, pink sheets are companies that can't be audited. They have no audit records. So the pink sheets are for the bad companies. So we went from being a great company to be knocked to the pink sheets. And so these are just giving you my pitfalls of the things that you can run into depending if you don't think about, as you think about where the company's going to go and what you're going to do with it. Also, the other thing is, where do you fit in? What skills do you have? What skills are you good at that you can deal with this stuff? I'm not an attorney. I learned very quickly that you better get some high-end attorneys involved or you could be in real trouble. Fortunately, there's a group in New York, Wickersham and Taft. They're the oldest law firm in the United States, and they're formed by President Taft, started the company. Joseph Ford Proctor had totally irritated them, made them very mad, and I just happened to run into one of their attorneys in New York. They took on my case for nothing. Imagine, this is like the most biggest law firm in the United States and major. Because they were mad at him also. It was great. I mean, again, this is all part of also, one of the secrets I have is being open. I'm open to everything. I'm open to everybody. It's like, I can walk anywhere. I can walk into a bar. I can sit down. And I just try to find out what's on people's minds, because that's just find what's going on. You never know. I met this attorney in an airport in the lounge. We just got talking what's going on in life. What are you doing? It's like all of a of a sudden, I now have a very major law firm in Wall Street that's now representing me. Then I made another mistake. Everybody says if you're a public company, you got to get an institutional investor. So we got a company called Lehman Brothers, who's our institutional investor. And two things happen at this point in time. One is, all of a sudden, an entrepreneurial company is now a Wall Street company. Big difference. Also, you now have people looking over your shoulder. In fact, they called me once and said, we just did a due diligence and we found a case at the Harvard Business Review about a guy who wrote a letter to the chairman of the board of IBM, some young programmer concerned about the company. It sounds like you. Was that you? I said, yeah, I wrote the letter. What's the big, I've been in the company for 3 years. I wasn't happy with IBM, so I wrote the chairman of the board a letter. Think about how could they find that? It's like, this is the kind of due diligence they got in my pants to figure out who I was before they would do it. Big mistake. And that, again, these are more on the public side, but it really was a big mistake. And again, at that point in time, the company had changed, and I'll get to a point where I'll call the exit interview, or the exit. The other thing about it is, it's really tough